Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about decision-making and the importance of taking decisive action in our daily lives and work. Many of us often face situations where we hesitate to act because of doubts, lack of information, or fear of failure. We will explore how to overcome these blockers, balance emotion and logic, and move forward confidently. By the end of this presentation, you'll have practical strategies to make decisions effectively and take action at the right time. Our objectives for today are simple but powerful. We'll start by understanding how decisions are made and the role that both emotion and logic play in the process. Next, we'll focus on common blockers, things that prevent us from acting. Finally, we'll explore practical strategies to remove these blockers and confidently move toward decisive action. This framework can help you at work, in your personal life, and in high-pressure situations. Let's meet John, a chief officer with 10 years of experience. He's recently engaged and planning to get married. Over the years, he's saved enough money to buy a sporty two-seater Ford, which has been his dream car for a long time. But here's the dilemma. His family thinks he should use that money to buy a house instead. John is at a crossroads. This car represents his last chance to fulfill a dream before family responsibilities take over. But buying a house is clearly a wise long-term decision. What should John do? The key point here is that there's no one correct answer. We'll discuss how decisions like this are shaped by both logic and emotion. These are some of the most common blockers we face when making decisions. First, there's the fear of what might go wrong. What if I make the wrong choice? This can paralyze us. Then there's the issue of not having enough information to make an informed choice, which leaves us stuck in indecision. Sometimes we worry about how others will perceive us. Will I look foolish if my decision fails? And finally, doubt can creep in. Is this decision even necessary? Recognizing these blockers is critical because you can't overcome what you don't see. How do we overcome these blockers and move toward taking action? First, ask yourself, what's holding me back? Sometimes just identifying the blocker can bring clarity. Next, list the pros and cons of your options. This is a simple but powerful tool. It helps you visualize possible outcomes and weigh your choices. Finally, make a conscious decision. Even if you decide not to act, do it intentionally and decisively. Inaction can be a valid choice, but only if you make it thoughtfully. Let me introduce you to another real-life scenario on board a ship. An electrician notices that a pump is vibrating more than usual. His instinct tells him something is wrong, but he hesitates. He calls an oiler for a second opinion, but the oiler isn't sure either. Now both are stuck, worried about whether they should escalate the issue to the chief engineer. The oiler is particularly concerned. What if the chief engineer thinks they're overreacting or incompetent? This situation perfectly illustrates how fear of judgment and lack of information can block decisive action. What would you do in this situation? When you're uncertain, it's important to take a step back and analyze your feelings. Why do you feel uncomfortable? Sometimes it's your gut warning you about something real. Gather facts and share your thoughts with others who know the situation. When you lack information, identify exactly what's missing and think through the risks of acting without it. If the risks are manageable, plan how to mitigate them and move forward. And remember, advice from experienced colleagues can be invaluable. In our case study, the electrician ultimately decided to trust his instincts and contact the chief engineer. The chief engineer confirmed their suspicions and advised contacting the CCR. When there was no response, they decided to trip the pump. This decisive action prevented a potentially dangerous situation. The takeaway here is simple. When you're unsure, don't let fear of looking foolish stop you from acting. Trust your training, instincts, and the support of your team. To avoid blockers in decision-making, always involve others. Test your ideas with colleagues or mentors who have more experience. Sharing responsibility for decisions can reduce pressure and help you make better choices. Finally, be proactive. Think ahead about potential risks and plan how to manage them. To wrap things up, remember that decision-making is both an art and a science. Use both your emotional and rational brain to make decisions. Consider your experience, instincts, and available information. Involve your team and consult procedures when needed. The key is to act with confidence and manage risks along the way. Thank you for your attention.